the new iPhones were introduced earlier. This is now unbelievably the iPhone 16. It only feels like a few years ago almost when the original iPhone launched, but we've come a long way.
How much does this feel like just another iteration of the iPhone, though? Or how much is there something to be really excited about for consumers or indeed for investors from this new piece of technology?
Yeah, I mean, I think the great news is that consumers are still, all these generations in, extremely excited about this technology. I think Apple has shored up its ecosystem and its garden into a way where they have these events every September where they introduce a new iPhone, new version of the AirPods, new version of the Apple Watch, because their ideal consumer owns all three product lines. And there are many people who are excited about owning all three product lines and upgrading. Me personally, I'm looking forward to upgrading from a 15 Pro Max to a 16 Pro Max. I think that the new black color for the Apple Watch Ultra 2 is very cool. I like the look of it, the satin black finish. For me personally, the new AirPods 4, I have an AirPods Pro second gen. So for me, the AirPods 4 would be a downgrade. But for people who are on older AirPods models, the AirPods 4 so far looks like a nice upgrade. But across the board, everything is very iterative. But that's okay. Apple's not going after the people who upgrade every year necessarily. Maybe they once were, or for sure they once were. Now they're going after the pent-up demand, the people who haven't upgraded in a few years, the people who are on Android or another ecosystem. They want to pull them into the Apple ecosystem. So they make that Apple offering better every year to try to gain more share.
Okay, so that's interesting, the rundown of what you like in terms of the tech. But what does it mean for AI? I mean, the delays and the lag behind competitors in terms of generative AI, how does that work if you compare, that consumer, the upgrade cycle?
Yeah, this may be a controversial take, but I think that the vast majority of consumers don't really care about AI. They won't know what
Mm.
Apple Intelligence is. It doesn't mean actually pretty much anything to them. It's going to be a US English and an America thing from the get-go. It's not going to come for UK English until the tail end of this year. It's not going to expand to other regions outside the United States until next year. There's no timeline on when it's going to be supported in China or the European Union. So I think it's something that's very nascent, and I don't think it's something that's going to sell many new iPhones this year. I think potentially next year or the year after. But consumers, they care about new features. They care about new colors. They care about the new camera control button, right? They care about the new black or gold or white color options on the iPhone 16 Pro. They care about the really cool new colors on the iPhone 16 and the 16 Plus. So there's a few things to like there if you're looking to upgrade from a much older iPhone model, but I don't think the AI story for Apple has been told yet. I think it's still very early there, which is not a
Okay,
good
so
thing. For other companies, the AI story has been written and even turned into a movie by now.
Okay, so there's definitely something to keep an eye on there in terms of future developments. But this is, in terms of revenues for Apple, they need to get the iPhone right. They need to attract the consumers in the way that you've been describing. Is this, in your view, enough for them to be able to score a win on these new products?
Well, okay. So even if there's a time where Apple is slow in one particular year to add new users, right? Even if they don't come out with a phone compelling enough to bring in a ton of new people, they're not going to lose people, right? Very few people leave the Apple ecosystem. Once you're in there, you're kind of stuck. You fall in love with it. You like how integrated it is. You like iMessage. You like your apps. You like all the money you've spent on subscriptions. So the point being, it doesn't really matter. I was watching here in the US, we have the Jimmy Kimmel show, right? He's one of our talk show hosts. I don't know the equivalent, unfortunately, in the UK, but they have this skit where they bring an iPhone around to people on Hollywood Boulevard. It's one of the, famous streets here in California, and they'll hand them an iPhone that is the current phone or a little bit older phone, a couple generations old. They'll hand it to random people walking on the streets and they'll tell them, "This is the brand new iPhone. What do you think?" And it literally could be the iPhone that they already have in their pocket, and they still think it's the most amazing thing ever, and they still think it's the new iPhone, right? The Apple brand and the marketing engine behind them is so strong that even in a year where they're not really doing a lot, right, where they're maybe promising things that aren't actually here yet, and like in the case of Apple Intelligence, they're still going to do quite well.